Hello, Peter Panthers. It's Miss Andrea. During March's Reading Month, middle school is learning about the human body. So today I'm going to read The Magic School Bus Inside the Human Body. It all began when Miss Frizzle showed our class a film strip about the human body. We knew trouble was about to start because we knew Mrs. Frizzle was the strangest teacher in the school. The very next day, the Frizz made us do an experiment on our own bodies. Then she announced that we were going on a class trip to the Science Museum. We were going to see an exhibit about how our bodies get energy from the food we eat. The trip started out like any other trip. We rode to the museum in the old school bus. Along the way, we stopped at a park for lunch. When it was time to go, everyone got on the bus. Everyone but Arnold. He was still at the picnic table, daydreaming and eating a bag of Cheesy Wheezies. "Hurry up, Arnold," called Mrs. Frizzle. She reached for the ignition key, but instead she pushed a strange little button nearby. At once, we started shrinking and spinning through the air. From inside, we couldn't see what was happening. All we knew was that we landed suddenly. And then we were going down a dark tunnel. We had no idea where we were. But as usual, Mrs. Frizzle knew. She said we were inside a human body, going down the esophagus, the tube that leads from your mouth to your stomach. Most of us were too upset about leaving Arnold behind to pay much attention. "We are now passing into the stomach," said Mrs. Frizzle. It wasn't exactly quiet in there. The walls of the stomach moved in and out, churning and mashing the food into thick liquid. The bus was turning round and round, and digestive juice splashed the windows. Now we knew how it felt to be a hamburger. Miss Frizzle drove to the bottom of the stomach. "We'll drive through this opening to the small intestine," she said. The small intestine was a coiled up hollow tube. The inner walls of the tube were covered with tiny fingers called villi. In the villi are tiny blood vessels. "Food molecules are taken into these blood vessels," said Mrs. Frizzle. "Once the food is in the body, or in the blood, it can travel all over the body." We felt ourselves getting even smaller, and Miss Frizzle started driving into one of the villi. She was going straight into a blood vessel. Now we were in the blood, but it did not look red. "Blood is not just a red liquid," explained Miss Frizzle. "Blood is made of cells, floating in a clear fluid. Those cells look like red rubber saucers," someone called out. "Those are red blood cells," Miss Frizzle said. "Red blood cells carry oxygen from the lungs to all the cells of the body. Here are the white blood cells, and they are busy destroying disease germs. White blood cells are like soldiers protecting your body from enemies," said Mrs. Frizzle. Looking back, we saw a white blood cell chasing the bus. "We'll be safer with the red blood cells, kids," said Mrs. Frizzle. She reached for the handle that controlled the bus's doors. "Don't do it," we cried. But when did Miss Frizzle ever listen? The doors of the bus flew open. We were swept out of the bus and into the bloodstream. "Everybody, hitch a ride," called the Frizz. Each kid grabbed a red blood cell as it went by. Our last glimpse of the bus was when it went into another blood vessel, with the white blood cells right behind it. Oh no. The next thing we knew, we had flowed into the heart. "Inside the heart are 4 hollow spaces, called chambers," said Mrs. F. "Each chamber is a little pump. The 2 chambers on the right side of the heart took in used blood from the body and pumped it into the lungs. In the lungs, the red cells picked up fresh oxygen." From the lungs, our red blood cells carried us back to the heart. This time, we were on the left side of the heart, the side that pumps fresh blood back to the body again. "Kids, it looks as if these red blood cells are on their way to the brain," said Miss Frizzle. When we reached the brain, we let go of our red blood cells and squeezed out of the blood vessel. It was hard to believe that this wrinkled gray blob was the control center of the body. Miss Frizzle said the brain is made of billions of busy nerve cells. They are constantly sending and receiving messages from the eyes, the ears, our muscles, and other parts of our body. We left the head by climbing down the bones of the spine. Inside the bones was the spinal cord, a thick bundle of nerve cells stretching from the brain. Smaller bundles of nerve cells branched out from each side of the spinal cord. These carried nerve messages to all the parts of the body. We followed some nerves that went to the leg muscles. The leg muscles were working hard. They needed a lot of energy. They used up a lot of food and oxygen from the blood. The heart was beating faster to carry fresh blood to the muscle cells. We entered a nearby blood vessel. The blood was moving so fast. We were afraid we would lose each other. But at that moment, the school bus floated by. What a relief! We jumped on and went up through the heart and lungs again, just the way we went before. When we emerged from the bloodstream, we were in a huge open space. "Where are we?" asked a kid. Miss Frizzle explained, "Children, this is the nasal cavity." "The what?" we asked. "The inside of the nose," said Miss Frizz. Suddenly, we heard a deafening noise. It sounded like, "Ah!" Then we heard, "Choo!" A tremendous blast of air hit the bus full force. We flew forward, spinning around and around. We were going so fast. We couldn't see anything, but we could tell we were getting bigger. Then, thud! We landed. There we were, back at school, and there was Arnold. in the school parking lot blowing his nose. Arnold, we said, the trip was amazing. You should have been there. Back in the classroom, it was business as usual. Miss Frizzle made us draw a chart of the human body for the bulletin board. At last, everything was quiet in Miss Frizzle's class. Everything, of course, except her dress. The end. I hope you enjoyed the Magic School Bus inside the human body. Bye.